Hello, friends, how are you all? Welcome back to our channel and welcome to our live story session today. Hope you guys can hear me out. So, friends, today I'll narrate you a couple of stories and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so, friends, let's start our stories. So, in today's video, we'll listen to the story named Change Yourself and Not the World. Long ago, people lived happily under the rule of a king. The people of the kingdom were very happy as they led a very prosperous life with an abundance of wealth and no misfortunes. Once, the king decided to go visiting places of historical importance and pilgrim centers at distant places. He decided to travel by foot to interact with his people. People of distant places were very happy to have a conversation with their king. They were proud that their king had a kind heart. After several weeks of travel, the king returned to the palace. He was quite happy that he had visited many pilgrim centers and witnessed his people leading a prosperous life. However, he had one regret. He had intolerable pain in his feet as it was his first trip by foot, covering a long distance. He complained to his ministers that the roads weren't comfortable and that they were very stony. He could not tolerate the pain. He said that he was very much worried about the people who had to walk along those roads, as it would be painful for them too. Considering all this, he ordered his servants to cover the roads in the whole country with leather, so that the people of his kingdom can walk comfortably. The king's ministers were stunned to hear his order, as it would mean that thousands of cows would have to be slaughtered in order to get sufficient quantity of leather, and it would cost a huge amount of money also. Finally, a wise man from the ministry came to the king and said that he had another idea. The king asked what the alternative was. The minister said, "Instead of covering the roads with leather, why don't you just have a piece of leather cut in appropriate shape to cover your feet?" The king was very much surprised by his suggestion and applauded the wisdom of the minister. He ordered a pair of leather shoes for himself and requested all his countrymen also to wear shoes. So, the moral of the story is instead of trying to change the world, we should try to change ourselves. Next story is What's the answer? Once upon a time, there was a boy named Rahul who was in love with a girl named Rani. She wasn't that good looking, but for Rahul, Rani was his life. He used to dream about her every time and was also thinking about spending the rest of the life with her. His friends advised him that why are you dreaming so much about her when you don't even know if she loves you or not? First tell her your feelings and get to know if she likes you or not. Rahul understood what his friends were advising him and felt that was the right way. Not become alcoholic at all. When they asked him how was it that he is not sad, so then Rahul replied, "Why should I feel bad? It is she who should be regretting because she lost the one who really loved and cared for her. And I should not be upset because she never loved me." So, our next story is Nothing is Impossible. A woman was walking through an horse camp and she spotted that the horses weren't being kept in cages or held by the use of chains. All that was holding them back from escaping the camp was a small piece of rope tied to one of their legs. As the woman gazed upon the horses, she was completely confused as to why the horses didn't just use their strength to break the rope and escape the camp. They could easily have done so, but instead they didn't try to do at all. Curious and wanting to know the answer, she asked a trainer nearby why the horses were just standing there and never tried to escape. The trainer replied, "When they were very young and much smaller, we used the same size rope to tie them, and at that age, it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they are conditioned to believe that they cannot break away. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free." The only reason that the horses weren't breaking free and escaping from the camp was that over time they adopted the belief that it just wasn't possible. So, my dear friends, the moral of the story is Nothing is impossible unless and until you try to do it. So, our next story is we will only get what's written in our destiny. Arushi and Manisha were real sisters. They were so identical that even their parents found it difficult to distinguish one from the other. However, they were very different from each other when it came to everything other than their appearance. Arushi had no friends, while Manisha was a great friendship maker. Arushi loved sweets, but Manisha loved spicy food and detested sweets. Arushi was mommy's favorite, and Manisha was daddy's favorite. While Arushi was generous and selfless, Manisha was greedy and selfish. As Arushi and Manisha grew up, their father wanted to share his fortune equally amongst them. However, Manisha did not agree and she argued that whoever proved to be more intelligent and strong would have to get a bigger share of the wealth. Arushi agreed. Their father decided to organize a competition between the two. He asked the two daughters to walk as long as they could and return home before sunset. The wealth would be divided in proportion to the distance covered. As a rule of the competition, they were not permitted to carry a watch to keep track of the time. The following day, Arushi and Manisha set out to walk. It was a rather sunny day. Arushi walked slowly and steadily, while Manisha broke into a sprint as she was bent on winning the race and also winning a greater portion of her father's wealth. Arushi knew that it would be ideal to walk as far as possible till noon and start for home at noon, as it would take the same amount of time to walk back home. Knowing this, Arushi decided to turn back for home at noon so as reach home on time. However, Manisha, with her greed to earn more wealth, did not attempt to return home even after mid-noon. She walked twice as long as Arushi and thought she would still be able to return home before sunset. She hurried back when she saw the sun turn orange. Unfortunately, Manisha could not even make it halfway home as the sun started to set. Slowly, darkness engulfed her path and she had to drag her tired feet back home. She had lost the race only because of her greed. So, our next story is The Pigeon and the Ant. One hot day, an ant was searching for some water. After walking around for some time, she came to a spring. To reach the spring, she had to climb up a blade of grass. While making her way up, she slipped and fell into the water. She could have drowned if a pigeon up a nearby tree had not seen her. Seeing that the ant was in trouble, the pigeon quickly plucked a leaf and dropped it into the water near the struggling ant. The ant moved towards the leaf and climbed up onto it. Soon the leaf drifted to a dry ground and the ant jumped out. She was safe at last. Just at that time, a hunter nearby was about to throw his net over the pigeon, hoping to trap it. Guessing what he was about to do, the ant quickly bit him on the heel. Feeling the pain, the hunter dropped his net. The pigeon was quick to fly away, and hence the pigeon's life was saved. Okay, friends, so let us move to our next story, which says greed always leads to loss of everything. Amira was a greedy and selfish woman. She always desired to have lots and lots of money and never hesitated to cheat others to make money. Also, she never wished to share anything with others. She paid very low wages to her servants. It so happened that one day a small bag that belonged to Amira was missing. The bag had 1,000 gold coins in it. Amira searched it a lot but could not find it. Amira's friends and neighbors also joined in the search, but all their efforts were in vain. After a couple of days, the 10-year-old son of a man working for Amira found the bag. He told his father about it. His father identified the bag as the one that was missing and immediately decided to take it to his boss. He gave the bag back to Amira and asked her to check whether the bag had 1,000 gold coins. Amira was exultant to get the coins back, but she decided to play a trick. She shouted at her worker, "There were 3,000 gold coins in this bag, but you gave me only 1,000. Where are the other coins? Tell me quickly. Have you stolen them?" The worker was shocked to hear this and pleaded his innocence. Greedy Amira did not accept the worker's story and decided to take the issue to court. The judge heard both the sides. He questioned the son and the worker about the number of coins they had found in the bag, and they assured it was only 1,000. He cross examined Amira, and Amira replied, "Yes, I had 3,000 gold coins in my bag, and they gave me only 1,000. Hence, it is quite obvious that they have stolen 2,000 coins." The judge then asked, "Are you sure that your bag had 3,000 coins?" Amira nodded vigorously. The judge then made his judgment. Since Amira lost a bag of 3,000 gold coins and the bag found by the boy had only 1,000 gold coins, it is obvious that the bag that was found does not belong to Amira. It was lost by someone else. The judge then proceeded further. "If anyone finds a bag of 3,000 gold coins, I will declare that it belongs to Amira, as there are no complaints about the loss of 1,000 gold coins. I order the boy and his father to take those 1,000 gold coins as a token of appreciation for their honesty." Okay, friends, so our next story's name is Real Pearl Necklace. Dimple was a sweet, lovable, and beautiful girl aged 6 years. She was an adorable kid as she always obeyed her elders. Dimple's parents loved her for her amazing behavior. One day, Dimple's mother took her for grocery shopping. As they passed the shops, Dimple noted a cute plastic pearl necklace in dazzling pink. She asked her mother to buy her the necklace. Her mother told her that it cost quite a few pennies. She asked her to do some chores so that for every completed piece of work, Dimple would get some money and she could buy the pink necklace. Dimple prepared a to-do list and assisted her mom with all the chores. Her mom was very happy and she paid enough money to buy the pink necklace. Dimple happily purchased the necklace and wore it just everywhere, every time, except while taking baths. Her mother said that her neck would turn pink and the pearls would lose their sheen if she wore it while bathing. But all other times Dimple wore it, even while sleeping. Dimple's father used to tell her bedtime stories frequently. One night, after completing a story, her dad asked how much she loved him. Dimple replied, "You know how much I love you." Dad asked, "Then give me your pearl necklace, please." Dimple replied, "Please, Daddy, I love you so much, but please don't ask for these pearls. I will give you the pink Barbie which you bought me a month ago." Dad replied, "Okay, fine, sweetheart." After a few days, the conversation was repeated between Dimple and her dad. Again, Dimple refused to give her pearl necklace and instead asked her dad to take her pet. Dad kissed her and left with smile. This was repeated several times. One day, Dimple slept while her dad was reading her a story. She was holding the necklace in her hands. Her dad took the pearl necklace from her hand. The next moment, she woke up and asked, "Dad, what are you doing?" Dad quickly opened a jewel box placed near her bed and handed her a real precious pink pearl necklace. He said, "Sweetheart, this is your real necklace. I wanted to take away the fake one all this while to give you this real one." Dimple got tears in her eyes and "Thank you, Daddy." Okay, friends, so our next story is Desire to Fly If You Have Wings. Once upon a time, there lived a generous and kind-hearted king. He was fond of birds and animals and had a huge bird sanctuary in his kingdom. He disliked harming the animals and birds. He did not kill them even for meat. In appreciation of his generosity and kindness towards birds, the king was gifted two beautiful falcons by a businessman. Those two falcons were used to different climatic conditions. The king thanked the businessman and ordered a trainer to provide all the facilities to those beautiful falcons and make them feel comfortable in their country. The head trainer took care of the birds. Gradually, the birds got adapted to the country's climate. One day, the king wanted to see the falcons fly, as he had heard that one of those falcons could fly to great heights at very high speed. The bird trainer led the falcon out of the enclosure. It flew very high, very quickly, and came down to the enclosure within minutes. The king was quite surprised and rewarded the bird trainer with a handful of gold coins. He inquired about the other falcon. The bird trainer started with regret that the other falcon had not moved even a step from day one and had just sat on the branch. The trainer also added that he had tried everything he could, but still failed to make the bird move. The king consoled him and told him that he would bring someone more experienced than him to try to train the other falcon. Soon the king announced that he needed someone to make the falcon move and fly. Hearing this announcement, an old man reached the king's palace and assured him that he would make the bird fly like the other one. The king asked the head trainer to take the old man to the sanctuary to train the falcon. He said that he would visit them the next day to see if there was any change. The next day, the king was very surprised to see the other falcon fly like the first one to great heights in rapid speed. The king was very happy and gifted the old man a handful of gold coins. Then the king asked the old man what he had done to make the bird fly in a day. The old man simply replied, "I just cut down the branches of the tree where the falcon used to sit." So the moral of the story says, don't just sit if you have wings to fly. So our next story is The Deadly Rope. The night fell heavy on the heights of the mountains, and the man could not see anything. There was zero visibility. The moon and the stars were covered by the clouds. When he was just a few feet below the top of the mountain, he slipped and fell into the air, falling at great speed. He could see only black spots as he went down and feel the terrible sensation of being sucked in by gravity. He kept falling, and in those moments of great fear, all the good and bad episodes of his life came to his mind. He was thinking now about how close death was getting, when all of a sudden he felt the rope tied to his waist pull him very hard. His body was hanging in the air, only the rope was holding him. In that moment of stillness, he had no choice other than to scream, "Help me, God!" All of a sudden, a deep voice came and answered, "What do you want me to do?" The man said, "Save me!" "Do you really think I can save you?" The man said, "Of course, I believe you can." "Then cut the rope tied to your waist." There was a moment of silence. The moment passed, and the man decided to hold on to the rope with all his strength, and he did not try to cut the rope. The rescue team says that the next day the climber was found dead and frozen, his body hanging from a rope and his hands holding it tight. He was only 1 foot away from the ground. So the moral of the story says that we should always have hope and faith in the Almighty. I hope you have enjoyed our story. If you did, please make sure that you like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.